Today, it's one of those days where it's just like, screw it. No, but seriously, RV maintenance is important. Welcome back to NOP, everybody. My name is John, and behind me is our little home on wheels. Now, RV maintenance is not as exciting as all the upgrades, but it is still extremely important, and we have come a long way from Phoenix, Arizona. So today, I'm checking in on our girl Dorothy, and we're making the rounds. Although our episodes are a few weeks behind, we have actually made it to our destination. That's right, we do have a contract. And I'm going to tell you about it at the end of the video, so stick around. But for now, let's go check on Dorothy. All right, I thought I'd come out and do this first outside because everybody is inside enjoying the AC and all that kind of stuff and watching TV and blah, 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 blah. So when you're looking for things, I suggest thoroughly at least taking a day, especially after it's been a long travel period, like long distance wise, so the RV's been on the road for a while and stuff, and literally look over everything that you can. All the different screws, anything like that, because you would be surprised how much, especially if you're new to this, how many screws will just vibrate loose. And it's a simple fix. But I have some thread locker or Loctite. It's essentially the same thing. There's two main kinds. There's red and there's blue. Red is for like permanent. That's what they use for like automotive bumpers and things like that. And then the blue is more for anti-vibration and that kind of stuff. I'm not going to unscrew anything to fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if I notice anything on the outside here that's loose or broken, it also helps to just look over everything too. So this is a good opportunity. Let's check it out. Okay, right now I'm literally just walking down the side here and looking at everything. Screwdriver comes in handy because I can check it and see if it's loose. Opening up compartments, seeing if there's anything else that looks loose. Loose and or missing. This is the door to access of the hot water panel, and literally every single one of these is slightly loose. All right, make double sure that you're checking things that have any kind of suspended mount from them, like this TV mount that we have outside in the outdoor kitchen. The bounce that comes with having something suspended from the wall, it just creates even more vibration and puts these things at even greater risk. See here where there was some trim, it's just gone. Gone, it's just gone. Likely because a screw or something came loose from, looks like here and here. But that's why it's so important to check this kind of stuff. Look at this guy. Now these things aren't like screwed into aren't screwed, oop, that was a little more than I needed, but aren't screwed into anything like solid. They just pass through this metal, so you don't really need to put a whole lot on. The other day, Kristen and I are lowering this down to do a little bit of filming on it, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, something doesn't look right. Larger bolts have just straight wiggled out. Now I will replace these by taking one out, taking it to like a local Ace Hardware or some hardware store, making sure that it matches, that it's at least an automotive quality, and then zipping it back in. Look, there's another one. So I'm gonna need 3 of those. Awesome. All right, can't neglect the roof either. Ugh. But when you're on the roof, it's also good to inspect all of the spots where you would have sealant. So having a little thing of like silicone gel or die-core, if you have that, it's great to have handy just in case you spot something while you're doing a walk around. Looks like it's kind of cutting loose, and right here too, and that's just where you want to keep an eye on. Just preventative, simple task. Please also don't forget to check when you're on the roof, have the slides open so you can check on the tops of the slides. Let me show you why. As you can see, we got a little bit of separation maybe there, some bubbling up here, and then this here that's gonna need to be kind of fixed. Also, the seam along the upper ridge of this slide is gonna need some more caulking, and especially right here, look at that. The big slide looks okay. Again, kind of a little bit of a line of caulk on the top there of that slide probably wouldn't hurt, but everything else looks good. Move from the outside to the inside. So Let me just show you what a little bit of, you know, just standard wear and tear on this toy hauler has been like so far. This is kind of funny in my opinion. That's the smoke detector falling off and followed by the light here. Isn't that great? So we're gonna be putting some Loctite in those and screwing that back in. Loctite's probably not the go-to for this, just because it's only screwing into this little press board up here. There's a little bit of glue on it now. I found another. Look, this is our little side mirror window here on our slide with the little valance, and it's just, yeah, straight loose. So I'm gonna fix that. All right, we've gotten a lot of things on the forums and people have actually reached out to us about prepping the tanks for the summer heat. You guys know what I'm talking about if you've been in your RV long enough, or even if it's just a weekend trip when it's really warm outside. The entire trailer just smells like boiling black tank. Oh God, it's awful. I did reach out to Wallex with specific questions about how to combat this very problem. And their advice is such: if you're worried more about odor control, that's where the Porta-Pak shines. They will control the odor, especially in the hot summer heat, better than the BioPak. But if your concern is a poop pyramid or making sure that all of the stuff that's in that black tank does adequately dissolve, that's where the enzymes from the BioPak really come in handy. They will both break down, they will both control odor. It's just one specializes more in odor, one specializes more in the breakdown. The biggest tip that they said in terms of making sure to keep the smell down is no matter what product you're using, is to add enough water that all of the stuff falls below the water line. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Extreme close-ups. Once we dump our black tanks, it's always really smart, especially in the heat of the summer, to prep them for the next go around. And being full-time, we always go around. We do poop in our toilets. There are some people that don't. For every 10 gallons that your tank holds, you should add about 1.25 gallons of water. So for our 40-gallon tanks, we add 5 gallons of water, which may seem like a lot, but that's how all these things work. As they dissolve, they create a floating layer on top of it. Think oil and water mixture. That's kind of how it works. The deodorizer sits on the top, everything else stays below, and that deodorizer kind of keeps all the smells underneath of it. And so when people are having these issues, even if they're using these products, that's the problem is most of the time they've got a pyramid that's sticking above the water like a nice little island, and unfortunately, there's your smell. When you're doing dishes in the kitchen, even if you're using soaps, even if you're being very diligent about straining everything, there is still some grease and stuff that gets down there, and that can create a slime. I did ask Wallex, can you use the Porta-Paks or the enzyme things in a gray tank? And they said, yes, you can. They suggested dissolving it first and then pouring some water down, making sure you add water and stuff like that. But they actually make a product that is specifically designed to break down the grease in gray tanks, and that's called Eliminate, and they were kind enough to send us some. I've used it a couple of times. Now we do leave most of our grays open so that they can drain out, but every once in a while, as per their suggestions, go ahead and throw one of these in the sink and it will just dissolve with your dishwater and flow on down. You leave it closed for a little bit of time to break down all that slime and stuff inside of those tanks, plus it gives it a nice lemony scent. You can also throw it in the shower with you if you want to take a shower and clean a tank that's maybe separate from your kitchen one like ours is. So it's important not to use a toilet bowl cleaner with bleach in it. It can damage the seals in the toilet and that kind of stuff. And especially try to use a natural toilet bowl cleaner if you're using the enzyme-based products. That way it doesn't inhibit the enzymes from using their magic. Also, don't have to let it dissolve. If you want to, you can literally just open the tank and drop it straight down the hole. But make sure you add water to it. Little known fact about Wallex that I found kind of interesting that I just recently learned was they actually developed the technology for these drop-in packets to dissolve. So now that there's tons of other kind of drop-in products out here. These guys were the pioneers of it and have kind of perfected that technology. These are my favorite products just because the ease of it. And I like it because it's not messy. I don't have to mess with measuring the powders and potentially getting that stuff on my hands. Same with the liquids. I don't want to mess with that. This is literally just take it out of the little bag, drop it in the toilet, let it dissolve. I only touch it for a brief period of second, and that's it. That's why I like these products. One of the things that's important to do that often gets overlooked, especially when you're in the rig longer term like we are, is to make sure you're cleaning the intake vents for your ACs, whether you have one of them like we used to back in Windy, our travel trailer, or 3 like we have in the Dorothy current toy hauler that we're in. Now, these can totally be replaced and upgraded with things like HEPA filters and carbon fiber filters.
Hey, it looks like that water in Michigan.
Well, super thank you to all of the people that commented on the last video that had suggestions and stuff like that. For what it is worth, I did totally try to do everything that everybody else talked about. I took the whole back wall off of the basement inside, got back to the converter, checked all those fuses, made sure it was plugged into its power source, and it was. I cannot figure out what it is. We are in a park currently that has power, so it's not an issue for us. Part of my hesitation on doing and diving a whole lot into this is because I do have plans. To be honest, I don't think anything is going to happen until we're done with this next contract and on our way back to Phoenix. Lithium is definitely coming. It will be an amazing upgrade. This roof has plenty of places for solar. There's financial commitments to it, even though that there are sponsorships. We're just trying to be smart about it and do it when the timing is right for us, for the channel, and for my wallet. Well, that's it for Upkeep right now. Thanks for coming along. And as I mentioned, we are settled into a spot right now, and I'm really excited to start my contract tomorrow at the University of Massachusetts in Worcester. We are thrilled to take the opportunity to explore all of New England here and are really looking forward to what fall brings with the leaves and the color changes and of course the rich history in this area. We've got a few episodes left in the Great Lakes area, so stay tuned and we'll see you out there.
Worcester. Worcester? Worcester?
It's freaking Worcester.
Worcester.
Now you gotta put freaking in front of it. It's way more fun.
Worcester. Worcester. Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcester. Don't be a Worcester the pot. Worcester.
Worcester. Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcester.
Stop doing Boston accents.
It's so difficult for me. All right.